Okay, well, it's one of those times when you sit down and you connect everything, and then everything works. It's one of those rare things that happen. Hello and welcome to the. Obviously, we have swapped out one of our tables because we can do that. And maybe some people might say, "How do you do that? How do you how can you swap tables like that? How do you get these things set up so fast?" Well, we don't, right? They're already set up. What? They're already set up because years ago we made something called a battle stack. I may have mentioned this before. It's basically a 2x2 frame of wood with 3 levels. Each one of those levels has a 4x3 game table. Okay. So we set it up and we shelve it. Set up the other game, shelve it, set up the other game, shelve it. There's 3 games essentially on the battle stack, plus there can be a fourth one out here. So what we're looking at, well, to be truthful, one of those levels right now is storage. And that does happen because it's a good place for storage. It's a nice level 4 foot by 3 foot area you can put shit on. All right. Namely, a bunch of light stands, microphone stands, etc. An easel, right? We always bring an easel to cons so we can put our fancy posters up and go, ooh, wow, nice advertisement. And then the second level right now has 10mm troops being assembled, and the third level is empty. Bottom level. Okay, so what are we looking at? We're looking at here the preparation test for the American Civil War D-Day game, which is essentially a composite of the battles, okay, fine, of Vicksburg and the Mississippi and the Mud Fleet, the Muddy Water Fleet, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Ironclads, Pook gunships, gunboats, Pook ironclads. And the reason they're called that is because the guy who came up with them, his name was Pook. All right, so here we are. And we've swapped out one of our Microsoft LifeCams for the one that works. Go figure. It's the same camera, but this one works. The other one doesn't. And I've had it. As a matter of fact, I've had it with a lot of technology, especially, well, you know why? Because it's older. And I'm cheap. Well, I conserve money. I'm not cheap. I spend the money on the models and the terrain and everything else and the filament now and then the resin, right? So there we go. What you're looking at here is a bunch of 3D printed trees and such, forts, bastions, redoubts, etc. Embankments with guns in them. And so the elevations are 6 or 5mm foamies stacked up. So we got that, cartographic look to the whole thing. And of course it's crooked. Why? Because I just put the camera up there now. I'm now going to adjust it's not a question of adjusting the table. The table is actually correct. It's the camera that needs to be adjusted. So I may have to stand, and I will attempt to not, offend anybody with the body in the front of the camera. So I will dismiss myself upward and adjust that camera. And the reason I can do this without looking is because again, using Chrome Remote Desktop, I'm looking at the monitor in front of me, which is where you are, the camera. The monitor has Chrome Remote Desktop and it's sharing the main computer, which is being used to broadcast or record this. How do I know the audio is good? Because I just tested it and I can see in OBS, the audio mixer, UV meters moving appropriately when I speak, so I know the audio is good. Now, I can't say the greatness for the Microsoft LifeCam focus at this elevation. I don't know why. It looks like it's not in focus. Okay, don't know. Ergo, the search continues for a camera with a manual focus. Now, I have one, but it's tied up being used at my 3D printer. So I will now move the easier said than done. Tell you what, let's get the camera right and adjust the table, which is traditionally what you kind of have to do. But then the table gets askew, and that just it goes to show you where the camera has to be changed. I'd rather do the camera to the table than the table to the camera. So, see if I can get this. Well, it's not perfect, but it's close. I'll crop it in OBS. Now you see here's that shininess is coming right here. Right here, this shininess is coming from the lights. Why is that? Because this is a new idea. Okay? This is a plastic translucent blue wrap called a basket wrap from a hobby store. Specifically Hobby Lobby, but I'm sure you can get it in. It's a basket wrap. You wrap the baskets with this plastic and it looks very shiny and pretty, but unfortunately for us, and this is why we don't do this normally, it's reflective of the lights. Now, can we diminish that? Maybe not, because as I put my hands in front, which is the offensive, what is the offensive light here? I'm blocking these. You know what? It might just be one light. Let me put my scrims back on. These are little discs that I put on the cameras. I'm sorry, on the lights of the track lighting. And the reason I do this is that it reduces the intensity of those LEDs, which is really intense stuff. Wild and wacky stuff. So let me see if this makes any kind of dent. Well, it kind of does. Yeah, for all those who may not remember, that was my Johnny Carson. That is wild and wacky stuff. Actually, that's not a very good impression. I've done better. Yeah, not enough. So the offensive light seems to be that guy, this guy, and this guy. So if I take them and point them away, there we go. So it diminishes the that's interesting. Let me pull this off. Let's put that light over on the ground instead of the blue. See, that actually works a little better. Oh, you know what? The cameras, I'm sorry. The camera was flipped. There we go. I forgot I have flipped the camera. I've installed it differently than the other Life camera, the Life Cam. And actually, what you're looking at is actually correct. This is the bottom. The other side's the top. I just didn't flip the camera view yet. I flipped the camera, but not the in the software. So actually, I'm going to leave it like this because that's correct. All right. Well, so again, welcome to the middle of the film. Now, where does that come from? If you don't know it, that's Monty Python. It's a quote from Monty Python's Meaning of Life. And I may be quoting Monty Python a lot because I was basically raised on Monty Python. I'm going to crop that and you'll see it change. Actually, maybe you won't actually see it change. Yes, you will. Again, the beauty of OBS or any kind of broadcast camera stuff lets you all right. So I want to bring your attention also to the couple of things that we haven't mentioned yet. First of all, now I have to remember this is going to be reverse. Can I reverse this? This is where he talks about flipping the camera. See, right now this is my left, but it looks like the right of the camera view. If I flip this, is any lettering going to be upside down? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe I can leave it that way. I kind of want to prefer to flip it though, so it's real time. I want to go 90 degrees. No. I want to go 180. Oh no, not. I want to flip horizontal. There we go. So that when I point to my left, it actually is the left of the camera view. All right. So you see we've got some artillery out here on this little movement tray. And here's an artillery gun with a crew. And again, you see it's reflective because it's a Lexan. So there is a downside. And this plastics is shiny. When it's shiny, it's not optimum. Little cornfields, field, house, right? And then the 3D printed trees and the rocks. This guy is an island afterthought. We thought, let's put an island out there so that we have two passageways here for the ships to pass through. And yes, so there's a ship there and there's a ship over here. Little green guy with his post that fell off. All right. So we're going to continue with this, and we'll cover some other topics and such. By the way, there's a new, so this is the blue, same as this, plastic wrap, and we just cut it into the shape like this, like a road or a river, and now it's being a river. Why? Because we wanted it to be the same color as this. Otherwise, we'd have our own blue foamies out there, and it would look, may not look great, and also there would be a rise right here from the foamy sheet, or the foamy road that we would put on, or the river. So this is at the same grade. In other words, it's just a very, very thin piece of blue plastic. and it works fine. The only thing is you have to cut it, and if that's fine, but it's a little bit hard to hold on to because it's obviously a sheet of sticky type of, it's very staticky plastic, and as you cut it, you could rip it. So you have to be careful when you're cutting. Essentially, the best way to cut this would be an X-Acto blade and not the scissors. I think we use the scissors, and I have a maximum length, like maybe this is it, 18 inches or such, because if it gets too long, you can't cut a piece of, wrapping paper that's that long. If you don't think of it as wrapping paper, or wallpaper, it's way worse than that. I mean, wallpaper would be would be somewhat rigid, but this plastic wrap, it's like a garbage can. A garbage bag, essentially what it is. So that's what I'm saying. It's hard to cut that. Anyway, but you can see that the blue is exactly the same color, and that's fine. All right, so we'll come back and do some more stuff. Not too bad. It's good when everything, you turn it on and it immediately works.